New on Curiosity Stream. She was a loving wife, a devoted mother. She also stole atomic secrets and gave them to the Soviets. Meet the woman whose deception kick-started the Cold War on the spy who stole the atom bomb. And
what if they catch you?
Then I shall be shot.
They're coming! Come back!
relive history's most death-defying escapes. It's Impossible Escapes: Civil War. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Hey, it's Miles. Thank you guys for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast.
Have you heard our newest podcast? It's called The Greatest Story Never Told.
Download it today on radio.com. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded every Tuesday at noon.
Back to the 50 years of KISW celebration. Presented by Palace Law. 99.9 KISW.
Where's the chicken wings? Where are the adult entertainment?
Celebrating 50 years of the Rock. It's our 50th anniversary weekend brought to you by Palace Law. Check out all the new swag there in the KISW 50th merch in the Rock Shop. We've got hoodies. We've got T-shirts. We've got hats. We've got beanies. Everything must go. And it's badass stuff.
Yeah. Everything must.
What do I got to do to put you in a hat today? That's exactly right. You need to go to KISW.com. The only thing we don't have yet is slacks. You like gold? There's gold in the logo. Gold necklaces. We got it all. You need a transistor radio? We don't have that. It's gold, baby. Hopefully, we will talk to Rainn Wilson coming up, and we do want to play back for you an interview with the late Chris Cornell. Yeah. Which was one of the highlights of our time here at KISW. In the meantime, it's our old buddy, Jeets. Jeets, how are you, buddy?
What happened? Did AC/DC cancel or something?
Yes. That is why you were two on the list.
Was Angus Young or Jeets? We went Jeets.
We went Jeets, man. It was obvious.
They're like, Angus ain't so young anymore, so I called Jeets, have him on standby.
Jeets, how you been, man?
Doing good, man. I got 2 young boys, so my life is insane. I tell everybody, and Miles and Throw, you would know this, my 2 favorite things about being a parent are, 1, hanging out with my kids, and 2, not hanging out with my kids.
That is exactly it.
Which do you like the best?
It's funny because, there are times my oldest son makes me feel so much joy and love, I didn't even know I could feel these feelings. And then there are other times I'm like, I can't believe I want to punch a 4-year-old in the face.
Sure. So the pendulum swings hard both ways. Like, you fill me with love and you fill me with rage, and understand no one will ever understand either of those at the magnitude that you have brought out of me.
It's rough.
Jeets, how many years did you work at KISW altogether?
So I had 2 runs.
Right.
Combined 10 years. The first one was about 9 years. And then I went and did a bunch of other stuff, and I had an opportunity to come back. And believe it or not, I turned down full-time jobs to come back a couple years ago to work part-time at KISW. And that lasted a year, and then the pandemic hit, and everybody in our industry lost their job, me included.
Yeah.
Yay! Well, do you guys remember Jeets came over when we all lived together right across the street there?
Yeah.
And we played drinking games till like 5 or 6 in the morning. He had another job as he was still working on the street team, and I was like, just forget that job. Let's get another 12er. And I'm pretty sure we were at a QFC.
All right. Call in sick.
Yeah, exactly. What are some of your memories, some of your highlights, some of the things that you remember about working here that you'll never forget?
You know what's funny? It's kind of like 2 phases. When I first started, I was so proud of myself, and it was so me-centric, and all the experiences that you just don't experience in real life or whatever, whether it's hanging out with these huge bands or interviewing celebrities or being on stage in front of 20,000 people. But like slowly that shifted, and it like as weird as this sounds, like you take that for granted real quick, and it becomes like not nearly as cool for some reason, right?
Because
it's work. Yeah, you know, there's AC/DC, who cares, whatever. But like what it turned into, and I know this sounds corny and just cliche, but it became the relationship with the listeners that I ended up caring about the most. And an example, seeing as I'm talking to you guys, is for years and years, people would come up to me, and still every once in a while, I was on your guys' show. I think Ted was gone, and I was filling in. And we did a stunt on the dime, and you guys had me drinking Jones bacon soda. And so I drank like 3 of them in a minute or 90 seconds or whatever it is, and I ended up puking or whatever.
That was their Thanksgiving pack. They had a pack with 4 different flavors. One was mashed potatoes.
It was the worst crap I ever tasted.
They also had one that was just bacon, and I was on the cover. That's what he was drinking.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Credit where credit's due.
Okay.
That's right.
They had some crappy
this
stuff.
Stuff was so disgusting, right? It like came out like syrup. It was just god awful.
I never drank one.
Back to the relationship part. I mean, I'd be out doing whatever, and just a rockaholic would stop me, like, "Oh, that bacon soda bit or whatever," and that's what I ended up like loving the most about working there like, because I worked for other stations and other situations, and like seriously, the rockaholics are just on a platform on their own. It's
I
just
would
so
agree
much
with
fun
that.
to do radio for.
Jeets, I will say this, as far as the times that I have hung out with you, just outside of work, and Ted mentions, you know, staying up all night. I think it was Joe that brought over like his own homemade game that we played that night. It's like a homemade board game or something like that.
Somebody did, yeah.
Yeah. But we always end up till 2 or 3 in the morning. You know, it's like when we went to see Hailstorm, right? We're partying till 2 or 3 in the morning. We go to Vegas together. It took me 5 days to get my crap straight when we got back, because I felt like I'd been kicked in the.
I think you were the difference in Vegas.
Head, you know,
like we've been to Vegas and got messed up. Somehow enter Jeets and it just changed.
You know what's funny? You know how many people have asked me, like, what's it like to party with the men's room? I'm like, it is the most fun you'll ever have making yourself miserable, because you freaking feel it for a week after you're done. But you're right. Yeah, it's always 2, 3 in the morning, just getting destroyed.
I know.
We should do that again.
I know,
man. I know.
I have kids.
Right.
We should do that again.
You definitely want to do it now.
Yeah. Remember, the fun time is when they're not there.
Right.
Jeets, any memorable chances just to meet artists or people that, you know, in the music industry that you always wanted to meet or interview? I know you used to go out a lot on the street and talk to people constantly, but just as far as a moment of being starstruck.
You know, I think the one time I was hosting this rockaholic meet and greet with Motley Crue, and that was the first time I met, and the whole band came out. And I remember, like their publicists or whatever, they were like, "Now, whatever you do," and they had released The Dirt, the book,
okay,
and so they were kind of touring on that too. And they're like, "Whatever you do, just have them be calm. We're gonna bring out the band." So I have this big speech with all the rockaholics. I'm like, the band's going to come out. They're going to take a group picture. You know, just be cool. Act like you've been here before. And they're all like, And as soon as they came out, I was like, and here's Motley Crue. They went, oh, my God. Flipped out. But, like, inside, I was freaking out a little bit, too, because I've always been a huge Motley Crue fan. So that's right at the top of the list for sure.
Okay. Well, Jeets, hopefully we'll run into you again sometime at 3 a.m. We'd love to see you again.
Yeah,
do our thing.
Let's go. I have kids.
I know.
Don't tell them what Daddy did. All right, brother. We love you, man. Good talking to you.
Thanks, guys.
Brother. Yeah,
congratulations on 50.
Hey, right on, man.
Do you hang up? So many stories about Jeets we can't tell them here.
Honest to God, man.
They all involve us, too. It's not like he was the only one.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely a multi-headed monster.
I mean,
but that is why, as he said, you know, it's one thing to hang out the men's room. It's different, I think, if it's the men's room hanging out with Jeets. I think we just all go a little harder.
I miss Jeets. That's a fact. All right, we first got here, let's face it, before Seattle became Seattle, as you know, with Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and all those great bands, there was a band called Queensryche.
That is correct.
And man, they kicked ass. And we were excited to meet Queensryche, man. Michael Wimp Wilton, Eddie Jackson shares a birthday with me. Scott Rockenfeld, Parker Lundgren. We drank a lot.
What up, Parker?
Go down to the Hard Rock Cafe, see some shows, man, and they became family. But let's get a chance, and we haven't talked to this guy in a while. It has been a minute, but ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the one and only Jeff Tate. Jeff, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm freezing in the cold weather in Seattle, but hey, about time we had some of that.
No, it's not. We were fine without it,
right.
man.
We were perfectly good without all this crap coming our way, man. How you been? It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I've been good. Well, up until last March when the COVID hit, doing really well. But like everybody in the music business, we've been kind of taking a breather now, and of course, doing other projects like recording projects and that kind of thing rather than the live work. But looking forward to doing some live work soon.
I guess it's a good thing you're stocked up on wine.
Yeah, I'm always stocked up.
Right? Yeah. What, Jeff? What are some of your earliest memories of KISW growing up here in Seattle?
Oh gosh, it seems like KISW has always been there as far as I can remember. Of course, when Queensryche first launched, that was in '82, I believe. I remember going to the station and doing our first ever interview on air, and it was a real treat. And over the years, KISW has been an incredible supporter of the local music scene, the local rock music scene. And man, you guys have helped everybody's career, by getting behind the local bands who eventually become international, and so thank you so much for always being there.
You were kind of part of that golden era of MTV. Well, was it weird at the time to watch television and sit back at your home in Seattle and see you guys video playing 5-6 times a day?
It was great. Yeah, it was absolutely great. Yeah, it was an amazing time and an amazing thing to be part of course. And it was such it was a new industry, with video, and nobody had been doing that before. And so we all had to learn how to do it, and how to use the technology and how to, best represent yourself. And man, I can remember going to LA to do our first video, and we were on the set somewhere, and they had all the old Star Wars props and all the vehicles and things that they'd used, for the show there on the lot, and we were freaking out about all these robot things just laying there in the sand in the back lot, in this barbed wire fenced off area. It was very strange. What was
the first song that you guys did a video for?
Well, the first song we did a video for, I believe, was from our first EP, and I think it was called Night Rider. And we actually filmed that in Seattle at the King 5 Studios downtown.
Wow.
Times have changed.
You guys are playing Newsman on the video, if I'm not mistaken. What about playing live in Seattle? Any memories of just any shows with other bands and just kind of watching? Because you guys were at the forefront of the Seattle music scene before it was just about ready to blow up.
Yeah, well, Seattle, of course, had a rich musical history, going back to the area, Bing Crosby, is from Tacoma, where I grew up, and then Paul Revere and the Raiders, and Steve Miller and Hart, of course, was hugely inspirational to my generation growing up, and then we found ourselves in Queensryche in that spot, and it was monumental times, really. I remember our first show we did in the Seattle area was at the Paramount Theater, opening for a band called Zebra. And then,
I remember Zebra.
That was a real treat. Remember them?
I do. We're old too, man. We remember
that guy
Zebra.
Could sing.
Jeff, then who was...
That guy could sing so high, I couldn't believe it.
So then who was behind the door?
That's right, zebra jokes.
You would know. Who's
not a lot of people have zebra jokes.
Right, we got zebra jokes.
Believe it or not, man, your band was the first band I ever saw live. Now, no offense, I bought money for a KISS ticket.
Is that right?
The outrageous price of $13.50, and I had to beg my parents. They're like, that is so much money. Yeah, but you guys opened for KISS. It was in Rochester, New York, and I'd heard the name of the band, but I was unfamiliar with the band. And you guys came out, and for whatever reason, one of the images burned in my head. It's you. You had your foot very rock style, had the foot up on the monitor, had your fist in the air, and you were wearing like a gold lame tank top. And if I get this right, something like Cher and someone else fought for this tank top a little bit later on the same tour?
Was it wintertime?
It was winter. It was January, yes.
Do you remember that?
I do, man.
Yeah. I remember that tour. I remember that tour very well. That was an amazing tour with KISS. It was the first time they ever did a show without their makeup on. It was kind of an unmasked kind of thing. It was for the Animalized tour, I believe. And they had a really interesting stage setup. You know how a regular stage has a front, right? Well, they had this apparatus that hooked onto the front of the stage called a thrust, and it's basically a gigantic ramp that was as wide as the stage, and it sloped down at an angle about like this down towards the front. And at the very front of the stage edge, it was like 6 inches off the floor. And so the idea was that you could go right down and be right amongst the fans, you know, when you're performing. And it was really a great idea, except for the fact that, you know, I'd never been on a stage like that before. And when you're standing on an angle like that and you jump up in the air, you don't land in the same spot.
Oh,
right. And I fell down probably 52 times on that tour. And it was embarrassing.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for sitting in and joining us on our 50th anniversary. Hope to get you back in the studio when things settle down and get normal again. And just great talking to you again. Great seeing you, man.
Thank you so much.
New on Curiosity Stream.
Just because it hasn't been done before doesn't mean you can't.
Watch Earth's greatest minds forge our path to a better tomorrow. It's engineering the future. And Jaws, Star Wars, The Godfather, E.T. The biggest movies have even bigger music. From King Kong to The Dark Knight. See how musicians scored Hollywood's greatest hits on great film composers' music of the movies. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Oh, drat. I was driving along minding my own business when that vulgar leech hit my Beamer with his pickup truck. I fear I've fractured my clavicle.
I say, old boy, don't simply put it in the hands of your insurance company to sort it out. Talk with the dedicated road solicitors at the Advocates Law Firm.
Pipe down, you old sod. The Advocates will see your case through to the bitter end and won't sleep a fortnight until they have victory in their grasp.
Jolly good, old man. Jolly good indeed. You get injured, the Advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
That's news under the hour from KISW in Seattle.
50 years of KISW.
And now,
time for Choose Your News.
On the Helium,
the Men's Room Red Festival.
The KISW Miss Rock Hydroplane.
Hello, is that better? Cheers, KISW.
99.9 KISW. And KISW HD1 Seattle. A radio.com station. Let's return to the party. 50 years of KISW is in progress. Presented by Palace Law. 99.9 KISW.
Hey, this is Sean Kinney from the band Alice in Chains, and I'm here to congratulate KISW for 50 years. 50 years of rockin', of Seattle's best rock. 50 years. You're like the gilf of rock radio. Royalty here in Seattle. You helped all the bands and still help all the bands and support all the local music scene all these years. You helped us massively. The first time I ever heard myself, the band on the radio, was years before there was the grunge. And you played our demo tape that we made in a treehouse on 8-track. And we all gathered around a radio, and we were stoked. How could you not be? You played our music for other people, and we were just beside ourselves. It was the first time, and we all remember the first time, right? So, you know what? Dug it up. Bang! Cassette tape. That's the tape. This is the tape. It's called a cassette. If you're younger and you've never seen one, it's cassette tape. This is the tape. You played it on the radio. And I can't thank you enough for that. Please, keep it up. Being the best rock. And love you.
Sean Kenny! Woo! I'll tell you what. There's not a lot of people out there funnier than that man.
That is true. We have we've experienced several times.
He is just...
He's awesome.
He's nonstop.
Yeah.
He does not stop the comedy. From the entire time that you sit down and talk with him, he is busting your balls nonstop.
Yeah, if you got a thin skin, don't hang out with a guy.
No. I walked in the Crocodile one night, and he's back there, and he's telling me all about their new pizza oven, or the pizza oven they have, right? I'm like, you're the pizza king in North America. Why don't you go make us some frickin' pizzas, right?
Yeah.
I swear to God, not 20 minutes later, every single pizza that was on the menu at the Crocodile was sitting at the table. It's like, there you go, ass, eat up. Like, cool, I got free pizza. That's not bad at all. Yeah, Sean and guys in Alice in Chains joined us many times. Here
or since Spider-Man.
Yes, we...
With a bottle of tequila.
The KISW 50th anniversary celebration. That's right. They were up for a Grammy and brought us back tequila from the Grammys.
So I guess, one of your parting gifts from the Grammys was tequila. They were all dry. Unbeknownst to us, basically we heard, hey, man, there's a fat Spider-Man in the hall, says he has something for you.
Yeah.
We have no idea what it is. It's like Alice in Chains sent me, and they handed us booze. It was awesome. Yeah. Oh, it was great.
And it was a really good bottle of tequila.
Yes, it was Grammy style.
That Spider-Man, by the way, is a serious martial artist now.
I know, he lost a lot of weight, because every time I see him, hey, man, I'm fat Spider-Man, but I look better. I'm like, I know, man, we just didn't know what else to call you. I'm sorry.
Speaking of tequila, coming up here in just a couple of minutes, we are definitely going to drink or toast for the show today. We have an idea who we're toasting and what we're going to do here, just to let you know, so please stay with us for that. It wouldn't be right if we didn't go back in time a little bit and play for you the last time that we had Chris Cornell in studio.
Yeah,
and this goes back a little ways, but it wouldn't be our 50th without Soundgarden. It wouldn't be 50th with all that. So what we're going to do is, for the only time today, we're going to go back in time for one last chat with the late Chris Cornell. So let's go back in time. Ladies and gentlemen, live in studio, the one and only Chris Cornell. Chris, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
You got a half applause there. You just, honest to God, you just came in. You don't really, you're not really promoting anything.
No, I just came in to see you guys.
Yeah, why are you here, man? Look, anytime you see something like late night TV, there is a movie or there is a book or there is a record, and they're going to tell you, it's the greatest movie I've ever done. They say, well, Chris is going to come by.
You're just here.
What the hell is going on? Does he really have no friends? Is that what this is?
Yes, that's what it is.
Time?
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm hoping that you'll be my friend.
Dude, there's no chance. Listen, we went through this before the show. Let's get the elephant in the room. In this studio right now, we all recognize you are the ugliest and least talented man.
It's got to be tough.
Right? I mean, it's just, I know it sucks for you.
Now, we heard they had to sneak you in the building. Hey, how is your life like that? I mean, are you like, I don't know, Dick Mingle at the Ramada Inn? I mean, do you have to kind of go around and
Mingle
or whatever? Do you
have to name you?
I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Like, do you have to be? I mean, does your life kind of have to be like that?
Yeah,
in a weird way?
That first one. I'm like that guy at the Ramada. No, not really. I mean, no.
You can be yourself. So. You can walk around. I mean, you got a dog.
I've always been. I mean, I lived in Seattle until I was 37, 36. 36. And I remember once I stopped going to sports bars, which was in my, I remember wandering around Seattle, and it's kind of like, I look at it like, do you or don't you draw attention to yourself? And it's sort of up to the person. Like if Prince goes into a place, he has people around him, and you see all that first, and you don't know if it's Prince, but it's somebody
sure.
I remember meeting Fred Durst one time. I met him one time, and there were like 5 guys that looked like they could be the defensive line of an NFL team, and then behind that wall comes this guy, and a hand comes out to shake my hand and say hi to me, and I thought if you want no one to bother you, just lose those 5 guys, and no one's going to know who you are. Prince, you probably would see if he didn't have the 5 guys. He might need the 5 guys, but most people probably don't.
Well, speaking of Prince, you did Nothing Compares to You a couple years ago on XM Sirius, live version of it.
Yeah.
Does he call you? Does Prince call you and go like, Chris, I really like that version?
Apparently he hates it when people do his songs.
That must be a horrible
What about,
thing.
well, hell, man, Tom Jones did Kiss. I mean, there's a lot of good covers of
It must
Prince.
be so insulting when someone
Exactly. I mean, come on.
who's already successful takes the time to pay tribute to you because they feel gracious about something.
It's kind of like Johnny Cash doing Rusty Cage. You had to sit back and go, oh, man.
Yeah, that was amazing.
You know,
I still do that.
And you think, why could I have not interpreted it that way?
I was asked to interpret it for Johnny Cash, and I remember saying after I sat for a couple hours, and I thought, this is actually kind of a stupid idea. And then I said, I can't do it. This I don't really understand whatever it is you're thinking. It isn't going to work. And then I heard the version that a smarter person did, and I thought, I was overthinking it.
It's amazing.
You know,
I mean,
what's
they're both
funny about that? Think about this with Johnny Cash, all right? So you put out the solo album Scream, okay? Mm-hmm. And just keep in mind, this is a quote from Trent Reznor or a tweet or something. He says, you know that feeling you get when somebody embarrasses themselves so badly you feel uncomfortable? Heard Chris Cornell's record? Jesus. That's what he says. All right? Just keep this in mind now.
We got the last part,
On this station, we played Johnny Cash's Rusty Cage. We played Johnny Cash's Hurt. No one complains when we play Soundgarden's Rusty Cage. And I'm about to make a dead true statement here. When we played 9 Inch Nails Hurt, and I like Trent Reznor. I like 9 Inch, so make no mistake, I like it. But every time we play it, the younger generation, they call and they tweet and they are pissed off because they're going, I can't believe Trent Reznor disrespects Johnny Cash like this.
Oh, they don't know.
Honest to God. And I'm like, so this is the guy complaining about your album, except people don't like his version of his own goddamn song, and they're mad at him for crapping on the memory of Johnny Cash. And I'm like,
Well, that's exactly what that illustrates why Prince gets upset, because the interview that I saw him do, he was saying that like the Sinead O'Connor song, nobody knows that that's even my song. And what I would say is that what puts Prince in the category of the Beatles or Bob Dylan is that someone like her can have a career-defining song with a song that he wrote.
Yeah, and that used to happen all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore.
No, it used to happen in the early 70s. I mean, even a Neil Sedaka song. I mean, you could cover it or cap. I mean, hell, I mean, it didn't matter. I mean, everybody, those 10 songs, like Daydream Believer was being done by 9 different people at one different time.
I think I would get Prince's argument if Prince were like a songwriter that no one knew of. But it's like, bro, you have an entire catalog that spans decades. No one doesn't know who you are. You are thoroughly appreciated. You're thoroughly respected. There is a tune that Sinead O'Connor blew up. Everybody like, the hell difference does it make to you, man?
What about, well, you cover the Beatles. You're doing Drive My Car for the new Netflix Beat Bugs, and you got, you do Dylan when you're out. Is there anybody that you wouldn't cover? Is there any song? Is there a Stairway, like when you walk into Guitar Center, no Stairway? Is there a Chris Cornell version of that where you're like, you know what? I'm just not going to cover that song.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Okay.
There's a really good chance. There's a lot of songs I probably will never play, but I don't think that I would have a rule of not doing.
Have you seen the guy that they have that dresses up like an old man, and he goes out to the city basketball courts and he just schools everybody? So they put like prosthetic makeup on him, and he goes out, he's got gray hair, whatever. Like, look at this old man. And he goes out and he just does it. Have you ever thought about doing that for like karaoke? In other words, they put you in makeup, right? You know what I mean? Like, you are the karaoke ringer. No one, you like this old crippled guy. Maybe you got a cane. You kind of fake going up on the stage and then just do, I don't know, Jesus Christ pose, or I don't know, The Day I Tried to Live, or something like that, just to see the reaction from the audience.
They tell you suck.
You know what I'm saying? Like, This guy's, this old guy really could nail some Soundgarden. You know what I mean? Just, I don't know.
I did that. I wasn't dressed up, though. I just walked up and started singing karaoke, and they said, this old guy can really nail some karaoke.
You have done karaoke?
No, I haven't, actually. I never have.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Dude,
like, you are the ringer.
Yeah.
Chris Cornell, everybody. There you go, man. We appreciate you coming in. Thanks.
Thank you.
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the men's room knows just who it is. So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. you're the toast of our shot of the day.
Examination as usual. We head to the drink desk and Stephen Throwhill to find out who we're toasting.
Yeah, today's really goddamn easy, man. First of all, KISW itself, even as it exists outside of all of us, just the station, man. 50 years. I don't know if you know this, but in radio, to stay in the same format, in other words, to play the same style of music for 50 years, pretty much unheard of. And that is coast to coast. So that is a testament right there, man. But KISW has done well this whole time. But listen, we got to thank, obviously, all of the Seattle bands that came through, including all the people that checked in today. But the fact that these bands, as much as they say KISW made them, it kind of goes both ways, man. You know, imagine KISW without Nirvana and Soundgarden. And, you know, you have this moment that explodes out of your city. It's a very familial thing. That's very cool. I want to give a special thanks to Sergeant Hair Club, who hired us to do this 15 years ago.
Thank you.
And we know you went out on a limb because of the company, the big brass. It's like, you can't put a talk show on a rock station.
No, there was a lot of those conversations. You can't put BJ in Morning Drive.
Right.
You can't put a talk show on in the afternoon. You can't hire a complete group of complete drunks to be responsible.
Thank God you didn't do
There's
that.
a lot of you can't.
We proved them wrong there.
It was
didn't we?
always,
Hey.
let's try it and see how it works. And, you know, it
15 years later,
We're still here.
Okay.
We're live.
And now they like to drink with us. On that note, got to give a shout out to BJ and Migs. And I understand we worked with BJ back at the Buzz before we all came over to KISW. That's the guy we have worked with from day one since we've been in Seattle, which is, I believe, about 16 years ago last week. All right. Never had a problem with the guy. We still laugh and joke every morning when we cross paths in the hall, man. So shout out to them. Brian Castle, who has been here the entire time that we've been here. And honest to God, as much as people can't believe we've made it this far, can't believe Castle has either. Because a lot of time we're co-conspirators is the problem, you see.
You and I had a conversation earlier today. I was like, it's amazing we're still here.
I know.
Like, I don't know how we didn't get fired at some point.
How about
along
just
the way.
alive?
Right. Yeah, and then there's that. When I said here, I didn't mean on the radio station. I mean on this planet.
I think that may be what let Jolene live a longer life, is that she finally just tapped out.
I'm out. I think that is it. And to that note, then there's Taryn Daly. All right. Now think about this at a radio station. She's quote unquote the new kid. She's been here for 8 goddamn years. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about that, man.
It's been a minute, yeah.
It's fantastic, man. But Hair Club settled for
married, had kids.
Yeah, well,
now it's good.
Yeah, we've done that.
Stop coming to work.
I'll repeat something you say to me, and the only thing I'll take.
F you, Dave, leave me alone.
That was one of them, but one that it's not that I give myself credit, but I'll accept the pat on the back that you give. Miles will say you don't know anything about radio, you only know about marketing. Thrill says the only thing you know how to do is find a collection of people who can work together.
That's it.
And not kill each other.
You're incompetent in every other way.
Absolutely.
But that I think you crushed.
Right. So I give you credit for that, but I give you guys all credit, and BJ and Migs, the entire staff, and everybody who has been here for the past, I've been here just over 19 years. Everybody who's been here in the other 30 plus years before that.
1971.
I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. It is crazy.
And aren't you officially the longest tenured employee at KISW?
It's up there. Slayton, 19 years. Me, 19 years. I mean, after
all right.
that,
we might have Steve Slayton coming up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Could be.
Maybe we can ask him who came first. But most of all,
there's that cell again. He is so good at that.
I was supposed to do no teases, but I'm slipping in some teases.
No teases, Miles.
I can't help it.
I was in the meeting.
Hashtag KISW50. No teases.
He's doing his work punch card.
Got it.
Like,
Got
click,
it.
click.
Check. Way to go.
But most of all, obviously, we got to thank anyone who's listening.
Yeah.
I said this at the top of the show, and again, this is true of anyone who's considered popular, anyone who can sustain, well, their income essentially by the judgment of others, all right? And that is what we do here. So the fact that you have listened this long and allowed us to do this, man, thanks to you. So don't congratulate us, congratulate you, because you're the guys that have kept us on this long. It's that simple. Understand it, man.
That's it.
I'm done talking because I want to drink.
Yeah.
And it's Friday, bitches. So, to KSW, all the guys in this room, hey, man, we pour this booze and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy. Yummy! So, over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies. Down the hola, bitchola! God damn, you poor big shot, Miles.
Me?
Jesus.
Me?
Yes.
I told you that bottle wasn't going to last. What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I just didn't know.
Tasty.
Yeah.
Ooh, one thing for sure.
Yeah.
As far as the Seattle music scene, as far as KISW is concerned, We would not really be here this successfully if it wasn't for a little group of people known as a record label known as Sub Pop.
Yeah, true. Okay.
A lot of history there. You talk about music. We're talking about Soundgarden. We're talking about Nirvana. We're talking about all these acts. There are two guys that are responsible for all that. So do we have Bruce Pavitt and Jonathan Poneman with us?
Great. Is this still Seattle's best rock?
It is, Jonathan, yes.
Certainly, in our opinion, yes.
Happy
anniversary.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys. I don't know if we would be here if it wasn't for you two. Is that a safe bet, would you guys say?
Are you saying, is this like a paternity lawsuit?
Yes. And Jonathan, it's a monthly thing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that check would be pretty fat. What are your guys' first memories of KISW?
When I moved originally from the Midwest to Bellingham, and then I moved from Bellingham to Seattle as a 19-year-old in 1979. And I was working can't remember, line cook or grave digger or something. And KISW was doing their job to break the new AC/DC record, which was Back in Black at the time.
That'll never catch on.
At that time in the 80s, I was a real strong advocate for indie music and college radio, and I wasn't listening to a lot of commercial radio until the record label that John and I got off the ground started making money from commercial radio, and I thought to myself, I should probably be listening to these guys. This is like 91, 92, and there's kind of a little paradigm shift there where this culture that I felt I was really plugged into all of a sudden became a lot more popular, and KISW had a lot to do with that. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember, as you know, when we're growing up, rock, punk, all that stuff, we're all anti-establishment. We all hate the man. You know what I'm saying?
That's the general thing.
But in general, the rock station typically gets the pass on that.
Sub Pop was so instrumental and so influential. There's no way you could have possibly known how much impact Sub Pop was going to have, right? Even just for Seattle. I lived on the East Coast at the time the Sub Pop started kind of sending out the cassette tapes and all this, and a buddy of mine had signed up for the, cassette tape of the month kind of club, and I remember him walking in, and he said, dude, you've got to hear this band. And he puts it on, and my mind is blown, and the band was Soundgarden. And then it followed up with Alice in Chains and Mother Love Bone and all this. And so for us being 3,000 miles away, we were like, Seattle must be the place, because this is the best rock I have heard, honestly, in my life to that point.
On that tip, John and I have a memory of the summer of '88 when things were really starting to bubble up. John and I had opened our office. We had been open for like 3 or 4 months. And there was a Soundgarden Mudhoney show at the Central Tavern in July of '88. We get a phone call from a music fan in Brooklyn, and this guy asked if there's any good shows coming up. And we said, yeah, you should get on a bus and come on out for the Soundgarden Mudhoney show. And he did. Wow. He did 3,000-mile bus trip for this show. I asked him if he was worth it, and big thumbs up. It took me about 2 weeks to get him out of my apartment, though. Because
I was going to say,
but I think that anecdote kind of underlines just how amazing things were in the late 80s. How hot those shows were. That we were getting calls from around the country, and people were actually visiting Seattle just to see these small local shows with like 100 or 200 people.
And riding the Greyhound. His name was Ed McGinley, and I think he's going to be running for mayor.
You're kidding me. I was going to say, was his name Terry, and did he have drugs? Right. You never know when people are going to go.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, right. Exactly. What are your guys' fondest memories as far as just being involved in what you do in Sub Pop? What was that moment where you went, wow, man, this is kind of crazy at this point?
Certainly when Smells Like Teen Spirit came out in September of 91, things moved so quickly. The MTV heavy rotation was really like probably the moment where we knew things were really going to blow up. But I remember a couple days after the single came out, the phones were ringing off the hook. I had a friend from Chicago who said, look, I just heard a taxi drive by blaring Smells Like Teen Spirit. This is Chicago. DJ from the Vogue, which was a dance club, called up and said, "Hey, I threw on Smells Like Teen Spirit, and that was like the hottest dance single of the night." So it was just coming in, just waves and waves of people going, "What the is up?"
Yeah, now they use it for a father-daughter dance.
Right.
It's come a long way.
Throughout history, when you look back, I think what Sub Pop did and how instrumental it was, and I was even before this station to be in the city,
we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys.
Yeah, no doubt.
And neither with the Seattle music scene and all the bands that have come out. So it's whether you guys realize it, I know you realize it, but it still really is a big deal to talk to both of you. So we really appreciate it.
I think everybody listening to this should head on down to the new Sub Pop flagship store on 7th Avenue. Just thought I'd drop that in.
7th and what?
Yeah.
Because my wife's not with me, so I might hit it. That's the one time I can apologize later.
Caddy corner from the Sphere.
Oh, right on.
Oh, yeah, prime real estate.
Yeah.
Very good.
Get down there.
Bruce Babbitt, Jonathan Poneman, thank you guys so much for calling up on the anniversary. Great talking to you guys, man. You're living legends. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, guys, thanks.
Have an awesome day.
Hey, right on, man.
New on Curiosity Stream, she was a loving wife, a devoted mother. She also stole atomic secrets and gave them to the Soviets. Meet the woman whose deception kick-started the Cold War on the spy who stole the atom bomb. And
what if they catch you?
Then I shall be shot.
They're coming! Come back!
relive history's most death-defying escapes. It's Impossible Escapes, Civil War. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.